The devil's on the loose and he's dancing with the mummy.
Deep from the bowels of the Macabre Theater Laboratory, we bring you Macabre Cast. There is nothing wrong with your streaming service. You are exactly where you should be, where the slush puppy machine is always on and cold. Your favorite horror mag is on the rack, discreetly displayed between Women's Wear Daily and Cosmopolitan. I'm your host, Dark Mark, along with my mold-riddled counterpart, Karis, the Little Mummy, here to bring you the latest episode of Macabre Cast, where we'll be dropping R's where they belong and adding them where they don't. Newbies, welcome. Regulars, welcome back. And worshippers, get out of here. This is a safe space for those who grew up in the 70s and 80s believing an acceptable gift for Father's Day was soap on a rope. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, or follow my show on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast, and, when I'm not breaking ridiculous infantile community standard rules, TikTok. Ask your friends to do the same, even that guy who blames the corruption of youth on horror movies. Yeah, that guy. If you wish to interact with fellow monster kids, follow the Facebook page Macabre Theater. It's there where you can send me a voice message and participate in this show. A link can be found in the description of this episode. Or, if you'd prefer, send me an email at macabretheater666@gmail.com. Macabrecast episode 159 and all of its gory glory begins now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Adoro il cast macabre.
From 1932 to 1944, Universal Studios dominated the monster world with mummy movies. The original Mummy with Boris Karloff, followed by 5 sequels: The Mummy's Hand, The Mummy's Tomb, The Mummy's Ghost, The Mummy's Cursed, and finally, in 1955, Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy. In 1957, Mexico threw their sombrero into the mix with The Aztec Mummy. And then in 1959, Hammer Films entered the ring and gave us the mummy every monster kid always wanted, with Christopher Lee donning the bandages, followed by 3 sequels from 1964 to 1971, with The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, The Mummy's Shroud, and Blood from the Mummy's Tomb. Then in 1970, Paul Naschy and his Spanish crew put Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, and the Mummy all in one film titled Assignment Terror. In 1981, we got the lackluster Dawn of the Mummy, and in 1987, the extremely popular The Monster Squad. I was happy to see the classic monsters get new life and interest pumped into them, but was never a fan. From 1994 to 1998, we got a few drab entries: The Mummy Lives, Tales of the Mummy, and Legend of the Mummy. Then, in 1999, Universal returned with Brendan Fraser rebooting its Mummy franchise. Again, I was not a fan. Apparently, when compared to the viewpoint of the masses, I'm in the minority. It followed with 7 sequels. Who knew? Spanning from 2001 to 2018. And as was announced, a new one with Brendan Fraser is in production. From 2015 to 2019, there were 3 or 4 direct-to-video releases, like Frankenstein vs. the Mummy. In 2017, Universal began with the start and immediate end of their multi-million-dollar Dark Universe, a plan to resurrect all the beloved classic monsters, starting with The Mummy. It starred Tom Cruise and was nothing but a ginormous letdown to monster kids who described it as nothing more than another Mission Impossible clone. Which brings us to Lee Cronin's The Mummy, a fantastic film that proves even in 2026, The Mummy can still be scary.
Bravo, Dark Mark. Bravo. Finally, one of the best topics you've ever had.
Somehow, Karis, I knew you were going to say that.
Hey, Dark, I used to believe that the clothes dryer was shrinking all my clothes.
Oh, Karis, that's actually pretty common. You should read the tags. Some clothes will shrink in the dryer.
Well, I found out it's not the dryer shrinking my clothes.
No? What's shrinking them?
It's the refrigerator.
And on that note, it's time for horror news. The 70th anniversary of Hammer Films' The Horror of Dracula from 1958. And they will be releasing the uncensored version to theaters this October. Apparently, the original cut of the film was deemed too intense for audiences, and only moviegoers in Japan have ever seen this cut of the film. A reboot of Maniac Cop will begin shooting in January of 2027 in LA. Bella Thorne stars in a revenge-fueled nightmare in Find Your Friends, premiering on Shudder June 12, 2026. Ginger Snaps turns 25 years old and gets a 4K release. And that's it for horror news. And Draven agrees. Draven the blood-vomiting bat. Children of the night, what messes they make.
Ha! The mummy. That monster's not even scary. I'd just walk real fast and leave that turd in the dust.
Now, Cecil, the mummy is very scary. He's a very scary monster.
No, he's not. Look at Karis. He's so old, he can't get out of his own way. Even if he could catch me, I'd pound him into dust.
This kid is a ginormous brat. How obvious is it that he's an offspring of Gen Z parents?
Stick it in your dusty anus.
While most people probably think that the first display of the mummy on film is the 1932 Boris Karloff classic, it first was brought to the screen 21 years before that, in 1911. A lost American silent short film called, you guessed it, The Mummy. This was a comedy drama about a businessman who buys a mummy that becomes reanimated by an electric wire, leading to romantic hijinks and the man almost being mummified himself. The film was only 15 minutes long, but it is noted as cinema's earliest depiction of the character. Unfortunately, this film is considered lost, only survived by a couple of production stills. 75% of silent-era cinema has been lost over time due to degradation and the high flammability of early nitrate film stock.
Is this something you could share with the rest of us, Amazing Larry?
Greetings, Dark Mark and Karis the Little Mummy. Scary Larry here. Like that's a surprise. Hey, Karis, do you have any hobbies? Or are you too wrapped up in this podcast? Dark, if you were a vampire, I would stake you in a heartbeat. So this week's subject, which mummy movie is your favorite? I'm going to go with the original of the trilogy of Brendan Fraser's The Mummy. While I enjoyed the original, it was rather slow. Now for a bit of a deep dive. Back in the late 80s, there was a series by Steven Spielberg called Amazing Stories. One episode, I believe it's called Mummy Daddy, is a hilarious, good take on the mummy story. I'd recommend you check it out. So this week I sat and watched another on my list I've been meaning to get to. I checked out 2023's Cobweb, and it was way different than I expected. By the title alone, I was expecting a horror movie involving spiders. Nope, no spiders. This features a quiet kid with overprotective parents. One night he hears knocking from inside the walls of his room. Is it in his mind? Or is something living in his walls? Couple of good twists and turns on this one. This one's available on Prime. I rented it for $3.99. It was worth a look. Gave me a little of the People Under the Stairs vibe. But it's not a ripoff of that movie. That's just what I was thinking as I was watching it. I liked it. I give it 3 out of 4 stars.
For someone who has not lived even a single lifetime, you are a wise man, Scary Larry.
This guy gets a major kick out of making me the butt of the joke.
Yeah, even though when Universal rebooted their Mummy franchise with Brendan Fraser in 1999, and I know we got a much more ferocious Mummy, I just could not get on board with that film, and at times I felt like it couldn't make up its mind. It didn't seem like the perfect blend of comedy and horror. It just almost seemed like at times it wanted to be a comedy and at times it wanted to be a horror. And I think if they went straight for the horror, we would have had a very different film. I never went past seeing any of the other sequels. I just was never a fan. Amazing Stories, however, by Spielberg in the 80s. I saw the majority of them and loved them. And I don't recall the Mummy episode, but I do recall an episode they did about backmasking and satanic messages played backwards on a record, and it had, I can't think of his name, but Doc Brown from Back to the Future. His name will come to me later when it doesn't matter, but he was in that. And Cobweb sounds interesting from 2023. You never know with some of these films. You get a name and you don't know what you're going to get, and sometimes you get a treasure. Always great to hear from you, Scary Larry, and we hope to hear from you again soon. Keep seeing it, so sometimes we don't have to.
You were listening to Dark Marks, Macabre Cast, Episode 159, What Mummy Did It Best.
So, I'm speaking to all you Stranger Things fans out there. Whether you realize it or not, the Duffer Brothers have a new miniseries out on Netflix called Something Very Bad Is Going to Happen. And it's a nice departure from Hawkins, Indiana, too. So, Laura and I sat down and we binge-watched this thing. It's only 8 episodes, about an hour each, and the setup is this. Rachel and Nikki are off on a road trip to Nikki's parents' secluded home, where they are to be married. Rachel has constant thoughts as to whether Nikki is really the one. The quirky airiness of this show is great. There are a lot of things that your mind puts together, and you think you know, but you don't. Each episode leaves you wanting to know more, and it keeps you working at what could possibly be going on, like a mind puzzle. Going forward, I hope the Duffer Brothers continue to roll out new and different ideas like this. I won't say anything more about the story itself, except for the concoction that Rachel appears for herself to consume had me wanting to throw up in my mouth. Check out Something Very Bad Is Going to Happen on Netflix. I give this miniseries 3.5 stars out of 5, and if you're thinking that that's a bit low on the rating scale, it makes sense when you put it next to the likes of The Haunting of Hill House and Midnight Mass.
Hi, Monster Kids. Elijah Broke here. I'm the guy who operates the elevator to the pit of hell. I'm the last guy you see after you fudge up the Macabre Cast horror trivia. Anyhow, that's neither here nor there. Did you ever ask yourself, how can I help Doc Mark? Well, if you listen to this on YouTube, like the video, and please hype the video. If you listen to it on Apple Podcast, give Doc Mark a 5-star review. These simple things will help win the battle of the algorithm. Your support is deeply appreciated.
Grim Facts.
Good morning, Macabre Theater. Hello, Dark Mark, Monster Kids, and everyone else, including you, Karis. How are you doing? On my way to work, just waiting for the train to go by. I wanted to check in. I think this week was mummies, if I'm not wrong, with the question, and I really don't have anything interesting to contribute, although I really want to see The Mummy. I'm probably going to have to wait for it on streaming now, but I remember listening to Metal Melody's review of it, and from where else I heard, it is a little misleading, but it sounds even more interesting to me, especially like possessed child angle. I love that, so I may watch that soon. Last night, I finally, after a long day of Scrabble and bingo at the senior center, and then Marshalls to pick out baby clothes, I got a little me time separate from my 86-year-old mom, and I sat down to watch Calvaire. Calvair. It's on Tubi. I've had a hell of a time finding it, though. Everybody said, it was on Tubi. I've tried to find it. I couldn't. The American title is The Ordeal, but it is French, and it is listed, Tina, for you especially. I think you'll enjoy this one. Under Tubi, under Calvaire. And it is, yes, it's in French, very little dialogue. I know you guys don't believe me because I say that all the time, but it's true. It's really easy to follow the story with very little reading, and it is awesome. I love it when movies I've wanted to see for a long time, even surpass my expectation. Part of it is, I think maybe I thought I saw this one, but I was thinking of Calibre, which is also very, very good. We can talk about that at another time. But this is Calvaire. And this French singer-performer is making his way down to a gig for Christmas down south. And, it's a big rainstorm. Something's wrong with the van. He's getting in trouble. So he has to stop in this little village with some, let's say, quirky characters. And boy, oh boy, do his path crosses with just the wrong one, let's say. Very moody atmosphere to it. You really don't know what anyone's intentions are, but it was making me go, several times. And it held my attention all the way through. You didn't know what was going to happen to this poor son of a bee. And, highly recommend it. It's the kind of movie, even at the end, you're left still feeling this sense of, foreboding and just, terror. Wraps up nicely, which I like, and I highly recommend the movie Calvaire. You know me, it's like Tubi Queen over here. And that's it. Hope you guys are doing well, enjoying listening, and I hope you guys made the most of your crappy weather-wise Memorial Day weekend, and I hope you have some fun summer plans in store. P.S. Larry, Scary Larry, thank you for the happy Mother's Day message on Messenger. I didn't get a chance to reply, but I thought that was awful, awful sweet, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, for now. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Including Karis. Including Karis? Yeesh. Wow. Boy, things have certainly changed around here.
Calvaire on Tubi.
Caligula.
It's Calvaire, Karis, not Caligula. I'm quite sure that those are two very different movies. No, I don't mind foreign films. I actually, in many ways, I adore them. Look at, you see a lot of these Italian splatter films. It's worse when they dub them, because then that sometimes takes you right out of it when they have terrible dubbing voices. But I do know a lot of people don't like to read. They feel like it's a homework assignment when they see a film, but they're also missing a lot of great films that way. And I'll have to keep my eye out for that one on Tubi, Calvaire, not Caligula, Terrace. Always great to hear from you, Grim Kim, and we look forward to hearing from you again real soon.
Do you want to participate in Doc Mark's Macabre cast? But you don't want to send a voice message? Maybe you don't like the sound of your own voice, or you're shy. Send Dark an email. He can read your thoughts on the show. Your opinion matters. Send Dark an email at macabretheater666@gmail.com.
And now it's time for Real World Horror. And now here's your host, Doc Mark.
In the year 2020, bioarchaeologists revealed what actually happened 2,600 years ago to Cobwebbed. A prominent married woman from ancient Thebes had been stabbed in a brutal attack. Using a modern CT scanner, the bioarchaeologists discovered the Egyptian mummy had a hidden knife wound in her upper back. It was later proven in 2021 that it had actually been an axe wound, not a knife. Cobwebbed was approximately 20 years old at the time of her untimely death. A study of the proteins in her leg muscles led researchers to conclude that Cobwebbed had been running for some time before meeting her end. As to who killed her and why, that will probably always remain a cold case.
Tune in next time to Real World Horror with Doc Mark.
You were listening to Dark Mark's Macabre Cast, episode 159, What Mummy Did It Best.
The following program is rated TV MALV. It contains strong language and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Metal Melody.
Land sakes alive! Here comes the chairman of the profanity party.
Hello, Doc Mark, Karis the Little Mummy, and all the Macabre Cast fans listening. It is Metal Melody checking in for episode 159. Yeah. So, I just wanted to say, Mark, I watched X, the Man with X-Ray Eyes, you mentioned in your Cobweb Classics on episode 158. And I can remember watching this with my mother when I was a little girl. I thought it was a good movie. I remember I loved when his eyes went black, totally black, because he looked like a demon and it was scary. Today, not so much scary. Back then, yeah, scary. But anyway, it was a good movie. Also, I seen Incident in Ghostland long ago. I was just making a comparison to Dolly Was All because they kind of reminded me of each other, in case there were people that had never seen Incident in Ghostland, because you never know. There's many movies that I haven't seen from like 2015, 18, you know. So I was just letting people know. Anywho, on to movies I've seen. Some people probably saw, again, some maybe not. because I watched quite a few movies during the week, and I've been to the movie theater. Ghosts of War, 2020. This is about a group of World War II American soldiers that encounter a supernatural enemy as they occupy a French castle, previously under Nazi control. If you like war movies and you like ghosts, this is a great watch. That's all I want to say about that. Also, Man in the White Van, 2024. I thought this was a good stalking movie. Very good. If you're talking about being stalked, this is a good one to watch. Good serial killer movie. The guy kidnaps young victims, kills them, chains them up, depending how he feels, what mood he's in, to what he's going to do to them. It was a bit slow at the beginning, but then it gets better. I don't know why I never heard of this until this year, because it came out like 2 years ago, but you can't watch everything. Also, River of Blood, 2024. I saw that on Prime. That's about 4 kayakers who take the wrong river exit, if you will, into a jungle inhabited by a tribe of merciless cannibals. That was me biting. It was a pretty good watch. It wasn't a great movie, but it was okay. Good time filler, but it's not that I really suggest. But I guess if you like cannibal movies, maybe you want to give it a watch. Let me see. Hold on, I'm going to take a sip of my banana cream iced coffee. It's so good, especially with that cold foam on top. Passenger, the 2026 movie. Now, let me tell you, when I first saw the trailer for this, I was like, oh, it looks kind of dumb. Like they get stuck on the highway, something scares them, whatever. Anyway, this movie follows a young couple who, after witnessing a highway accident, and stopping to help, become haunted by a demonic entity during their entire road trip. This is a great frickin' movie, let me tell you. It has a good storyline to it as to why the entity is following the couple. You'll find out later. It's not just, and he's called the passenger. And, you find out why later, and it's really good. So there's a good storyline. It's not just something stupid that was thrown together. I loved it. I thought it was great. I would give it 3.5 stars, possibly 4, maybe. I don't know, 3.5 to 4. How about 3 3/4? I don't want to say too much about it and spoil anything, but it's definitely worth the ticket money. It had some really good jump scares, I'll tell you that. And you have to see it in the theater. You have to. You have to see it in the theater. Or you're not going to get the same reaction if you're watching it streaming at home. Because it's that good. So that's that. Movies I want to see is Obsession, the new 2026 movie. Which is after breaking a One Willow wish. He's in love with this girl and he wants to win her over, I guess. And he gets what he wants, but soon discovers a dark, sinister, well, let me just say, it costs him a dark, sinister price for getting the girl he wants. Because I guess the girl ends up going psycho on him or something, what the rumors are about the movie. I've heard great things about it. Everyone's like, oh, it's so scary, blah, blah. I don't think it's really scary, but I hear that the girl plays an excellent part. So I wouldn't mind seeing it. I figured I'll check it out soon. It's been all over my TikTok for over a week, so I'll check it out. And also Backrooms I want to see, another 2026 movie. This one's about a therapist patient that disappears into some freaking dimension beyond reality, and she has to go into the unknown to save him. I'm not rushing to see this because I feel like it probably is not going to be that good. So I'll wait for this to stream. Unless I hear from someone's review that it was very good, then I may go to the theater and check it out. But on that one, I think I'm just going to hold off and wait for it. And as far as the topic this week, who played the mummy best? I think Christopher Lee in 1959, The Mummy, hands down. Hands down. Period. You cannot top that scene with him coming up from the swamp. I'm sorry. Like, it is forever etched in my mind, and I'm sure in a lot of other people's. And oh, those eyes. So, yeah, there you have it. Well, that's it until episode 160. And I hope everyone has a great week. And hopefully we will get a few sunny days out of it. But who knows? And yeah, give that teenager something to do because it's just just a little wise ass punk, and you got to give something to do. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Karis doesn't like him either, so get that kid out of here. Give him a job. Well, that's it for now. Adios.
Teenager, I'm only 11. Why don't you get the dish rag out of your mouth, you windy old tart? Say, didn't you babysit me once?
This kid Cecil is a brat. Now he's chiming in before Metal Melody gets on to talk. He's chiming in after. What's with that? This kid is a brat.
Don't be so jealous at everything I do, you old crab tree. Unwind and die.
Look, you all know how much I love the Universal monsters. So I'm going to put it like this, and I did this for Dracula. Lugosi is Dracula. But Christopher Lee made Dracula scary. Lee is scary, but Lugosi is Dracula. That's the best way I can put it. And with the Mummy, as much as I love whether Karloff is the Mummy, Chaney, I love them and they're great. But then you put Lee in the bandages coming up out of that swamp. It's chilling. Again, Lee made the Mummy scary. Lee had the Mummy, gave us the Mummy we always wanted. But in my heart, I love those old Universal movies. But you know what? Yeah, Lee's probably the best Mummy, and I can't not see that. But I do love those Universal movies. And you know, Passenger, I knew nothing about. I didn't even know it was something creepy or scary. I knew nothing about it till the little bit that you said about it, and I don't see myself getting to the theater. I have a question. This is the new thing. Everyone that gets on here keeps saying you have to see this in the theater, you have to see that in the theater. Is that because most people know that I don't always get to the theater to see it, so this is a new way to get me to asking for a friend? Just want to know. Regardless, Metal Melody, always great to hear from you, and we look forward to hearing from you next week.
Don't touch that dial, Monster Kids.
Yeah, you don't know where it's been.
Pipe down, it's almost time for the final thought.
Not quite, bro. Not before. Cobwebbed classics.
Ooh, yeah, Cobwebbed classics.
Welcome to Cobwebbed Classics, where I dust off a lost, forgotten, or just plain unappreciated film and introduce it to, or maybe just remind you about it, so your spooky Saturday night might run a little creepier. This week's Cobwebbed Classic is 1944's The Mummy's Ghost, directed by Reginald Roborg, starring Lon Chaney Jr., John Carradine, and Robert Lowry. 3,000 years ago, Karis and Princess Ananka were involved in a forbidden love affair. When she died, her soul was cursed because of their sin. The Egyptians buried Karis alive along with her. In a previous sequel before this film that takes place 30 years prior, An expedition team located and entered Ananka's tomb. They fought and survived an attack by Karis, the now living dead mummy. They managed to get Ananka's body to the museum in the United States. Karis was believed to be dead in a fire that happened at the home of the leader of that expedition. The story of the mummy's ghost takes place in Mapleton, Massachusetts, where a group of skeptical college students are being told this tale. One of the college boys has a girlfriend of Egyptian descent who of late has felt her mind is clouding over. Meanwhile, in Egypt, Yusuf Bey, who is played wonderfully by John Carradine, is informed Karis is still alive. Yusuf's mission? Retrieve Karis and Ananka and return them to the rightful burial spot in Egypt. Along with the power of the magical Tana leaves, this is the film that also incorporates the cycle of the full moon into the mummy's coming and goings. Lon Chaney Jr. was never a fan of playing the character of Karis due to the costume, but I just adore his performance. During a scene where Karis trashes the museum, Chaney smashes his fist through glass that was supposed to be breakaway glass, but it was unfortunately real glass. The prop guy forgot to replace it before the scene was shot. A shard cut through the mask under Chaney's chin, and Karis can be seen bleeding. And the blood we see is real. Chaney got a reputation for being a tad too rough with the other actors in these films. Although no legit charges were ever filed, Frank Reicher's neck had marks on it the day after a scene was filmed of Chaney strangling him. Taglines for this gem are as follows.
No chains can hold it. No tomb can seal it. Nameless, fleshless, deathless.
1944's The Mummy's Ghost is this week's
Classics.
Goditi questo episodio de Cast Macabro.
Thank you, Maria Monstalia, for telling our Italian friends to enjoy this episode of Macabre Cast. We've been led to believe that the average age of death in ancient Egypt was between 20 and 25 years old. The reality was half of all the children died by the age of 5. The status dragged down the whole average, so those who made it past childhood typically lived into their 30s and 40s. But even that statistic was dictated by class, gender, and environment. Death was considered a vital transition to the afterlife. Mummification was to preserve the soul's vessel. Internal organs were removed, treated, and stored in sacred jars. The heart, however, was left in the body because it was believed to be the center of intelligence and emotion. Using natural salt, the body was dried out for 40 days. The shrunken body was then wrapped in layers of linen soaked in resin. The dead were buried with magical spells and guidebooks to navigate through the underworld safely, to arrive at the final judgment. But I won't bore you with the spooky details. Today's world has its own set of funeral practices. Maybe not so dramatic, and not for the same reasons. Modern medicine has us living for so long, we are outlasting our body's ability to function, including mentally. Maybe someday there will be a solution even for that, but probably not in my lifetime. Beware the moon. Keep clear of the moors. But most of all, remember, be good to yourself. This is Dark Mark, signing off. See you soon, I hope. This is a Macabre Theater production.
Subscribe us.